Welcome to the PerformX Podcast. Today we're joined by Matt Peacock, PerformX speaker from the last 2 years of shows. Matt shares his story from engineer to gym floor PT to online PT to now personal training mentor. And we dig into his thoughts on AI, lead generation, and building the community he's built. Matt, welcome to the PerformX Podcast.
Thank you very much, buddy.
Absolute pleasure to have you on. And we chatted last week offline about the polarising views you have in terms of the coaching world. So I'd love to, there's some really key points that you raised, and I'd love to dig into some of those today with you. But first of all, for anyone that hasn't yet heard of you or met you at PerformX, what's your background?
So I'm Matt, as you have just said. I run a business called the Optimised Coach. Got to get the branding in. We effectively teach personal trainers and online coaches how to transition their business online, make more money. But the question being what's the background is not, it is fitness, but is further back than that. I actually left school not really sure what I wanted to do, with no further education, no college, no uni. Went off into engineering, which was a passion. Enjoyed it. Did consultant engineering for 9.5 years. Really good. Took me around the world, paid well. It was a good job, especially by parents and grandparents standards. So when I told them that I was going to leave that to get my level 3 to become a personal trainer, and in their mind stand in a tracksuit and count people's reps, they were like, what, bro? But it was good. I enjoyed it. It was a good job. I think looking back on it, what I learned is that it was passion, which is good, but there was no purpose to it. And what I think I've learned is, not to get too deep too quickly, that I think is when you can apply a passion to the service of someone else, kind of what we've been talking about already, that's when passion becomes purpose. So for me, it was fun, but without that I knew there was something else. So I went and did PT, and PT was great. Got really busy as a gym floor PT very quickly. Survived around 8 minutes in a big box gym, a red big box gym. Owned by a man called Richard. I'll leave that there. I didn't get on well with the big corporate box thing, so moved to a private gym. That was good. Got busy fast because of the contacts I had made being a socialite, network marketing and engineering. And then with that, because I got busy, ended up then moving online because it felt like the combination of the skills. Got busy online super quick and ended up finally I'll spare you all the details, but finally kind of niching into working with male personal trainers, taking them to health optimization and often photo shoots, but with a view to health first, which was great. And I ended up then being asked by other personal trainers, how has your business grown so quickly? Like the other guys in the gym, the ones that were open-minded enough, the ones that were closed-minded were just moaning about the fact that there wasn't leads and people hadn't shown up for their sessions. So I started helping people casually, and with that ended up, I remember at one point being like, the next person that asks, I'm going to put a price on this, because there's now proof of concept that it doesn't work for just me. So I built my business up to, did £250,000 a year, sitting in my joggers in the house. So I helped a few people casually. Then I charged the next guy, and I remember charging him next to nothing. He got a bargain. And such became what was Mentoring by Matt Peacock. No idea how he came up with such an amazing name for that business, which was a side project, but actually became very quickly the main thing. And I think just to tie it all together, it was really nice to... I remember dropping my son off to my ex-wife's house, which obviously... ex-wife is a potentially strained relationship. It's not, it's a good one, but at the same time, I remember her saying, it seems like you've changed what you're doing. And she said, is it teaching coaches to run their business? Like education? It's like, it is. And she's like, you always said that is where you wanted to go. So and I think it was nice to, of the strangest place, the nicest place to have that verification. Yeah. And now that is the only thing. So we have coaches all around the world, in every continent, working with us to get help to grow, scale our business, but everything from marketing, sales, content, the delivery side, and I think a lot of the time, we can maybe talk about that later, is the delivery side is often overlooked. It's a sales and marketing course. Whilst it is what I coined BDSM, business development, sales and marketing, it is also how to be a great coach. So yeah, I suppose that's the story, an unconventional route.
Yeah, and we'll dig into some of the deliverables of what the Optimised Coach is. But did you find anything from the engineering background applied into how you thought about the fitness industry?
Heaps. Heaps. Just like I think I did an apprenticeship, and I think that's actually the biggest thing, which is maybe unexpected. I think people look for specific skills. The nature, Chaz and I talk about this a lot, is to doing an apprenticeship, the mindset that comes with that, and like to put a fine point on it, just doing the shit that no one else wants to do in the office. Folding hundreds of drawings till 11 o'clock at night, and doing it again because you didn't do it perfectly, and not understanding why the two guys, my bosses, were super anal about naming things. And I have very much become that guy, and I understand the value in that. I didn't at the time. So the first thing is having that apprenticeship mindset. I also think like managing such high volume work, huge volumes of output, but like high volume data management. So, you know, you've got thousands of drawings to manage and different projects, and they're going out at different times, different clients, different needs, working with different people. I think it really got me an insight into that, which I think, well, Chas has learned through working with me. I think he thinks I'm like insane sometimes when I'm like, bro, would you mind renaming this just slightly to suit the nomenclature that we have? He's like, oh my God. I think that's the big thing that came from it. Managing high volume data, managing different types of people, having an apprenticeship mindset. And I think the final one is in engineering, if I had helped design this building and the building fell down, well, how it works in structural engineering is it's actually criminal law. So if it can be proved that I was culpable, I'm going to jail. And we're talking like less than a millimeter precision in a lot of things. And such, one of the core mantras of the Optimised Coach and my coaching before became the details make the project. Like, I think I come across as anal, retentive a lot. But I'm a big believer that that's hugely important for not killing people in buildings and also delivering fantastic coaching. So yeah, I think there's a lot of unexpected things. If I could go back in time, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't want I think the traditional route is, you know, you finish school, you did maybe do sports and exercise science, or you just liked health and fitness and you didn't really know what else to do and it seemed like a good job to get for now and you fall into it. I'm glad I took that apprenticeship of life that was learning to do the shit that no one else wanted to do, working long hours because it was hellish. In for 8, maybe home at 1 a.m.
Jeez. Yeah.
And you know, if you're needed in France next week, guess where you're going next week. Don't care what you have on. Yeah, there's a lot of things, but yeah, it was good, and I'm very grateful for that background, and I think it's helped a lot with coaching. Is just managing data. It's emotions and data, human behavior, and then like lots of data. And I think a lot of coaches, we get taught the behavioral stuff if you do enough CPD, but I don't often see people talking about like, how should your Google Drive look? Not the way that most people's look. It looks like, you know, a bomb has gone off inside it. No wonder you're stressed, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a lot of stuff, dude. I'm grateful for the engineering background. And actually that's where we played around with, I don't love the term business mentorship because of connotations and associations, and not a personal thing at all, but it just doesn't feel right. But in lieu of having a better title, that's what we've run with. But I think it's like business engineering, which seems like the most sensible combination of the things, where it is in engineering. I do genuinely believe that. Like you and I have been speaking about starting businesses and building businesses, and it's very much an engineering process, albeit sometimes reverse.
Yeah. So Optimised Coach, I think you've spoken at the last few PerformX's. I've always been a big fan of the way you put things across. I think the branding and the social is spot on, but I think the title of your last talk, Be More Pirate, I think it speaks to a lot of the industry, and I think, can you just explain unpack that a little bit? What was the
how long have we got?
Talk? You can watch it back on YouTube.
You can actually, yeah. You can watch it. The whole thing's on my YouTube. First of all, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. I think the Be More Pirate thing really is, like, I think it stemmed from one of the core, like, that we do. So I love a sticker. I don't think anyone doesn't love a sticker. There's two types of people in the world: people that like stickers and liars, right? So one of the stickers that started was "Stay Weird," and I think that was permission to be your own self. Because I think in an industry screaming that they're struggling to stand out, if you look around, we're surrounded by people desperately trying to fit in.
Yeah.
So the Stay Weird thing became permission to be your own coach. Admittedly, I think that potentially started to travel into slightly choppy waters, where it maybe started to attract people that were different for the sake of just being obtuse. So the Be More Pirate is kind of like the evolution of the Stay Weird.
Right.
And I think it's looking at the lessons. There's actually a book called, is it Be More? I think it's called Be More Pirate. It's a fucking brilliant book. It's a terribly printed but fantastically written book. Like that.
Yeah, Rory McKenzie recommended it to me. It's
such a good book, right? And I think it's that, like reading about actually pirates. Like it's not a pun. It's like actual how.
Yeah, the story, the history.
How did they run the crew? And it was about fairness, and everyone got to share the gold or whatever they found. And like, I suppose ditching common norms, not because we just wanted to be different, but because it was deemed that there was a better way. And I think for coaching, there often is, and I think there's a lot of dogma around, well, this is how it's always been.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I think in life there's a lot of that.
Yeah. The people that tread a new path are like controversial at first and then trailblazers afterwards, kind of thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Sometimes
a lot of startups.
Always controversial, sometimes trailblazers, sometimes not. Like you roll the dice.
Take the risk.
You roll the dice. So I think there's a dichotomy to be managed there where you don't want to push too hard in one direction. But I do think that it's giving coaches permission to stand out, giving coaches permission to tell their own story and to weave that story in, because I'm aware by all accounts I do not have a normal story coming into this. I don't have the usual CV. And then when you and I have spoken before, like I actually shared it on that presentation, which again you can watch on YouTube, was about how I got to the point with coaching where I was going through that divorce, financially absolutely on my hands and knees, 4 maxed out credit cards, and whilst it doesn't make me proud to admit it, like I'm happy to talk about it now, I got to the point of being suicidal, and it was a terrible part of my life. And I think from there it became I need to do something different. I was already a coach, but I think I was desperately trying to fit in, desperately trying to follow what other people had done, but it wasn't working for me. And I think it's okay to broadly follow what generally works, but to find your own vibe, find your own tribe, and then also work your own story. And I think, like, I know we're going to talk about that in a bit, is like making things uniquely your own in the AI world, I think is more important than ever.
Yes. Yeah.
So the pirate thing, just to cap out, is we're really working hard on the branding just now to really bring that to the forefront of the Optimised Coach. As someone said on a sales call, it's like, I'd really like to join the program. I was like, I beg your pardon. It's like, I'd like to join the program. I'm like, it's not a program, brother. It's a cult. It's a cult. It is. It's a pirate crew. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I can't really tell you until you experience it. And then he's in 5 minutes. He's like, yeah, I get it. I get it. That's why they all have the tattoos. They all have Stay Weird and all the other things tattooed on them, which is the most bizarre thing in the whole world. Yeah,
but I think it's how I originally found out about you was through one of the guys, and he's just like, this is this guy's changing the game kind of thing. It works, it really does. People are, it's as much part of it. The community is as much part of it as the rest of it. You know what I mean? It's a real thing, isn't it? So
yeah, for sure. I think you and I have bonded over that, like the community thing. And I think was definitely core in a pirate mindset. As bizarre as this conversation is, it was. They were a community, and albeit with fairly rogue rules.
Right.
I found it very interesting. I could not put that book down for someone that basically can't read. Do they do this in a colouring book? So yeah, I think there's something in that. If I'm reading it, you've written a good book.
That's true. So the Optimised Coach, your mission is to help frustrated coaches.
Yeah.
When they come to you, what's usually broken? What are they struggling with?
They are frustrated, and when they come to us, they're struggling with some core things. They're struggling with low and unpredictable lead flow is the big one. That's the big, I hear it every time.
Right.
And I think anyone with a service-based business can attest to that. I think the less known but still present pain points are sales is still a weird place. And I don't think people like admitting that they do sales. Like, I think some people do. The people that are aggressively salespeople identify as that, and they're proud, loud and proud. I think those of us who are not so inclined find it very difficult to say, hey, like, I work in, like, you do work in sales if you're a coach. That can be a bit tricky. So I think clunky and unpredictable sales is definitely an issue where they don't have any formal training. And then the third one is, like, their delivery model or their offer structure. Like, coaches typically come to us with like 10 offers or some bargain basement offer, and they can't figure out where it's going wrong. So they're like the three main things. And that's exactly why we've just built we've literally just built like multiple hour free course on exactly this, which is designed to help coaches fix those things, monetize the business, fix their lead flow, and understand like getting world-class results. So that's definitely, I mean, that's on the YouTube, so you can check that out. It's those things are the things that they struggle with. And I think if we go lead flow, that causes a lot of stress. That causes a lot of pain. That causes a lot of anguish day to day. I've been there. I think that's why, you know, it's important to have walked the walk in a job in coaching. I think it's very hard. It's very easy to fake it, but not for long. And I think like unpredictable lead flow is something that keeps you awake at night. How am I paying these bills? How am I going to get rid of these 4 credit cards?
Right.
When I've got a baby and an ex-wife and like I'm like trying to get a new mortgage and all that mess. And then when it comes to sales, like we have I think it's maybe a bit of a pirate view is I'm very careful to tell people in sales discussions that we don't teach sales. I'm like, what? I think there's a big difference between sales and getting hired. And what I know is if you go into a sales discussion with the goal of being hired and nothing to sell, all of a sudden now you disarm that weird, horrible feeling that a lot of coaches get when it comes to selling. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's that, I don't like to come across salesy.
Yeah.
What if you didn't? What if you were genuinely curious and approached them with a view to being hired? So we teach very much that in the sales process, and we don't teach objection handling. I'm not Grant Cardone. You know, we're not going to do that. If someone has an objection, you probably didn't clarify something clear enough, and I think they should go away and think about it. So we have quite contrarian views there.
Right.
And then when it comes to the systems delivery and world-class results, every mentorship I was ever in, lots of good ones, very good ones, still very close friends, but there was never a delivery element. Where the hell did mastery of craft go?
Right.
Like surely the fastest way to get more leads and to make more sales is to be shit hot at the thing that you say you do.
Yeah.
Show me, don't tell me. So I think a lot of people are learning what's the latest algorithm hack. Actually, I'll use an example. One of my friends, Callum Raystrick, shout out from Pro Coach. Callum is awful at social media, and he'll be the first to tell you, like awful, but is absolutely world class at getting results, and just shares those results. And as a result, has this absolutely robust pipeline of leads. I would argue that if you are offered a sales call into Callum's business, you feel privileged to be offered the call, and therefore much more likely to buy.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of that, which is why we teach every single week the practical application of coaching. Because as I said to you offline before we started, I'm an absolute nose for certain parts of coaching, and then Dave that delivers in our business is also, he kind of compliments me on the other side, and I think it's very important that coaches are able to deliver. Otherwise, what are we teaching?
Yeah.
What are we teaching? Is it marketing and sales? That's fine. Just market it that way. Just be honest. Or is it how to become a world-class coach for the betterment of the entire industry? Because I think if we're real, the industry has a pretty bad name. I don't think it's in a great place. I think there's I think most people's experience of personal training isn't a positive one, at least to start with. As a recipient, as a user, that seems like a big problem. And if you've been taught how to hack the algorithm and get more views and then get Susan in to buy your PT and she's deeply unhappy, that's not good for you. That's not good for the industry. It's not good for you, me, or anyone else. So I think that's super important.
And you talk about the freedom myth. Can we dig into that? What's your thoughts?
We can dig into that. I think one of the things I would say is in my mission is I'm happy to be really real with people, and it might not be for everyone. I'm okay with being Marmite, but I feel like that was certainly what I saw in the marketing of people in now my position.
Yeah.
Was you can work on a laptop anywhere in the world, like on the beach. Well, for starters, like back then you couldn't hotspot and there's no Wi-Fi on a fucking beach, bro. Right? And I don't know about you, but I mean, your laptop's not ideal on a beach. It's roasting hot. You can't see the screen. So I think there was almost a lie sold for a long time. And I think like this idea that if you move online or you build a big business, you have freedom. I think you do have freedom in some aspect. Like I think freedom, the context in which we hear it, Giles, a lot of the time is financial freedom. Okay. Financial freedom, I think, means choice. the ability to choose, the ability to, where are we going to go for dinner tonight? And it's not based on, can I afford it? It's based on, what do I want? The ability to pay for the house, pay off the mortgage. Like my mother-in-law's not very well, being able to like treat her privately. That's choice, that's option.
Yeah.
But I think the hidden cost of that is the other freedom that you have to give up. The cost of one is always the other. So I think like we've reflected on that privately today is I think a lot of the time isn't something I have a huge amount of freedom over all the time by choice. And I think you need to be okay with, I think what I say to any new coach, what I would say is this, is like what I've learned and what I know from over the years is if you just need to be okay with the price and be willing to pay it. And it's okay to not be, but you have to understand which game you're playing. So there's this idea that there'll be time freedom. There is some of the time, and there's also not. There's this idea that there'll be financial freedom. There is later on. There's this idea that there's freedom to work wherever you want. Well, there is, but there's a cost of that. Like working in a busy coffee shop isn't productive at all. Like what, I don't know why baristas play the fucking drums on the coffee machine, but they do, right? So that's not ideal for Zoom calls. And I think realistically, what I've learned over the years is it takes longer than you think. It's going to be harder than you think, much, much harder than you think. And the freedom, here it is in a nutshell. The balance, the cost of balance later is purposeful imbalance now in anything in life. So if you want nutritional balance, I think you have to go through something that is purposefully much more rigid in the first place. Like, let's use an example. Financially, when I was on my hands and knees, I wanted financial balance at very minimum, right?
Yeah.
I would balance back, equilibrium. But that took a huge amount of imbalance of no coffees out, no meals out, no holidays. I didn't even leave Scotland for 5 years. Like I was just there all the time. Like there was no extras. That purposeful imbalance created the balance, freedom, call it what you like now, where we can choose to do and travel and work from wherever we like. I think that that's the part that has been missold, or at least very least misunderstood by most coaches. There's a lot of people very blind to what it takes to build a business.
Yeah, and the idea that there's a shortcut to an overnight success type.
Are there? I think there are shortcuts. I think the word we use in the Optimised Coach is safe shortcuts. There are different types of shortcut. I think if it looks like shite and smells like shite, it's probably shite. Like Matt Peacock 2025. Call me Gandhi at this point. But I think, yeah, definitely that, dude. I think it's a bit of a tricky one. The whole freedom balance thing. People have this misguided idea of how much it will take, how many reps it will take, how long it will take. Building a body, eating well, financial freedom, building a business, having a this ties in with the chat we had earlier on about men. Having a healthy relationship, not just with your partner, but with yourself. Anything in life, it's going to take a lot more reps than you think. I've learned that with everything I've tried to achieve. Even took up golf as an adult. Shite at it. Still shy at it. Less shite, but still shy. But like, if you think about how many balls I've hit, it's insane. And I'm sure your life has been like littered with those examples. The problem is people are being presented overnight successes. It's the Dyson thing. He always says that, doesn't he? James Dyson. It's like everyone sees the overnight success, not the 20 years of strife before that. I think it's very easy to look at anyone doing well. And I'm very, very, very careful we make that clear on the way into the Optimised Coach. I actually offer people their money back just after they join.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I explain, Giles, here's the thing. Everything we've discussed is absolutely true. And we're going to do it. We've made a plan at this point. So that's where you are in the process. And I say, Giles, I probably spend 5 minutes and I read this. I could give you it verbatim, but it's like, it's going to be hard. It's going to take longer than you think. You're going to want to quit. There's going to be good days. There's going to be a lot of bad days. Does that make sense? They say, yeah, it makes sense. It's like, okay, now at this point, I'd like to say, I'll give you every penny of your money back if that doesn't sound like it's for you, and you can go anywhere else you like. No hard feelings. But if you don't want your money back, then I need you to use this as an anchor that we're going to come back to every single time, because you're going to run into a lot of difficulty, a lot of roadblocks. We delivered a session in Ibiza at our most recent client event called The Man in the Mist, which, I mean, I know you're in for this, Giles, and I realize not everyone is, but I realize you and me fall into this very niche part where it's like, okay, I say to you it's breathwork and visualization, and you're like, I'm there with bells on, and I know a lot of people really resist that. But if you're open enough to it, I built a mindset visualization piece where effectively the man in the mist is your full potential, and
Yes.
he is there. And I think a lot of the time, for me, well, I'll speak for myself. What I know is I could always see and feel him there, but not clear enough. And I think that held me back for a long time. So spending some time getting clear on that and understanding the sacrifices that were made. And to give you a punchline from it is the version of you that you want to be will cost the version of you that you are, and everything that you want will cost everything that you currently think you can't live without.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for my marketing to reflect that. And if that makes me a less viable prospect for some coaches, then that's okay.
It's polarizing, yeah.
Totally okay.
Yeah.
I think I'd always rather lead with integrity. The 3 values of the Optimised Coach are discipline, pride, and integrity. And integrity is saying, being honest, telling the truth, doing good work. And that boils down to, in our industry, being upfront with someone.
Yeah. And on a similar vein, you talk about the advice, knowing your worth, as being quite sort of empty advice. What do you mean by that?
There's a lot of platitudes in life, just sentences that have become dogma. Like, I was told repeatedly to know my worth by people that I trust, and people that I like, and people that I don't, and people that I don't. And I've had it from everyone. I think know your worth is something that I've heard a lot from mentors and guides. Just know your worth. Like, you don't know your worth. If you knew your worth, you would charge it. Well, yeah, but I think it's the mentorship equivalent of eat less and move more. What the fuck does that mean to a personal training client? Like, I already know that. And if it was that simple, how much more should I move? How much less should I eat? What type of movement should I do? How much less should I, It's not clear enough. So I think, how to put this succinctly, here's what I know on this. It's the identity-based habit thing from James Clear's book, from Atomic Habits. It's Moses' be, do, have is the best way to capture this, in that knowing your worth isn't affirmations in the mirror. It's not a mentor who believes in you. The first person you need to sell is yourself.
Yeah, embodiment.
You must believe in the product that you are selling. And embodiment is the perfect word to describe this. So if we think about, I always use the example in the Optimised Coach, and I'm not religious at all, but what would Jesus do is like a very central tenet to Christianity. So it's easy to decide what to do in any situation. If I'm like, what would Jesus do? And a lot of Christians will have like the rubber bracelet that says WWJD. Yeah. So they have that constant reminder of, well, Jesus would behave in this way, therefore that is how I act. And for coaches and for people alike, I think that's so important to pick someone or people who are in the position in any aspect of your life. And I think multiple people in different aspects is a healthy way to do this, that have the things that you desire.
Yeah.
From there, what you want to do is look at how do those people behave. And where there's a potential pitfall here is, obviously Ollie's a friend of both of ours. Ollie Marshall's a good example. I think a lot of people look at Ollie and just try and copy what he's doing. For obvious reason, the guy's built a monster, love to see it, love to see him doing well. What Ollie, or anyone else, he's just the example here, is doing now are likely not the same things he was doing when he started March on Athletic way back when. Having watched it, there's some that are, but there are a lot that are not. They're new to the size of this monster that he's built.
Yeah.
So I think it's looking at the very more granular habits. What time did they get up? How much did they work? The little habits, not the what's his marketing campaign or what type of content does he put out, because it's different for him and different for me and different for you. So we look at those granular habits. That will identify who you need to be, which then means you now know what to do. So I'm going to get up at this time, I'm going to dress this way. And actually, here's another example of someone that we both know, Phil Learning.
Yeah.
Absolutely, first mentor ever in this industry. Absolutely, like salt of the earth. Like, do not have enough time for him. And when I had this really fixed belief coming into the industry, that my mum always said that, like, where caps were really, I still take my hat off to eat every meal, even though I don't live with my mum for the last 20 years. But I still take my hat off to eat a meal. I wear a hat all the time. I went in thinking that you would be scruffy and it was really casual. And then I went in and Phil had his BAA top on with his branding on it and chinos and a black cap with his logo. And I was like, holy shit, this guy looks the part. So for me, it was like, there was another example of a micro thing that I'm like, oh, right, that can be done.
Yeah.
And the way he presented his slides and presented himself and spoke, and it clearly there was lots of research that went into these slides, not just something that pulled out his asshole on GPT these days, 5 minutes before. Right. So once we've got the be, who are they? Now got the do, and those more granular, the better. Through repeated doing, guided by who you want to be, commit enough reps.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, you wake up and you just have become, you're not them. You're you, but better.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the reasons that you highlighted, because everyone has their flaws, but highlighting those good things. I suppose you could use this in reverse. I've never thought about that until now. You could use this as who would I not want to be? Because inversion thinking is such a healthy way to do any task, because obviously the human brain is designed. If I say to you, you say to me, like, I want to grow my business. And I say, okay, Giles, write me down, you got 60 seconds, as many ideas as you can how you grow your business to 200K by the Christmas. You're probably going to have a couple of ideas, but you're not going to have many. If I say, okay, Giles, now, another minute, turn the paper over. By Christmas, you want to destroy your business. What would you do? You can come up with lots more answers because we're designed to find fault and negativity. So losing a tenner is much more painful than finding a tenner for that reason.
Yeah, right.
So suppose you could use this in reverse and you could find people that you're like, how would I become that person that I really don't want to be? Then inverse them. So we take all the things that you would do to destroy the business by Christmas. What's the opposite of that? All of a sudden now you've got 40 ideas versus the 3 on the other side of the piece of paper. That has really served me very well, the positive side of it, at least over the years of identifying people that I really respect in work, life, and everything in between. Sometimes someone as close to home as my dad, Nixon, my son, mentors, teachers, apprenticeship bosses, other coaches. They don't have to be light years ahead of you, but you can respect someone who's making less than you, if that's the metric we're going to use. Because they show up professionally. So I always wore a collar to work. Because as soon as I saw Phil wearing, I was like, oh, holy shit. And Mark Coles, he wore one as well. I'm like, these guys look pretty smart. It's something I can do. I've learned now that this is more my vibe.
Yes.
But
yeah.
I think be do have is very, very important in knowing your worth. Because now what we come right back to finally answer your question 4 days later is our Lord and Savior Alex Hormozy talks a lot about building a stack of undeniable evidence. We're kind of linking back to Callum now, where it's, if you have a stack of proof that says you are who you say you are and you can do what you say you can do, I don't think you struggle to feel worthy. We could go down a rabbit hole, but we won't. But I think everyone is worthy at a base level. I think you have to prove it to yourself. I've had to prove it to myself. I think I'm very careful here. I don't want to apply should to anything. I'm not, nothing I will ever tell you or anyone else applies. Like, you should do this. And this is a kind of content seg maybe, but I think what I've learned is here's what works for me, it might work for you. And what's worked for me has been be do have, is identifying those people. I focused on getting a lot of social proof in terms of when it came photo shoots. We did a Polaroid of everyone at their shoot. And it wasn't until my brother-in-law walked into the office and was like, this neon office with lots of greased up naked men is very homoerotic. I was like, that wasn't the vibe I was going for, but now you point that out. I see what you're getting at. But that stack of social proof made me very aware of my ability to do my job. And one thing we tell coaches to do is to review the social proof that they have before a sales call.
Yeah.
Don't scroll.
No.
Don't deal with client problems. Don't pick your nose and have a drink of water. Open your social proof folder and look at the work that you have done. Remind yourself, bed into that, of the change that you have the potential to make. And if it's just a photo shoot, okay. But what is the impact of that change? It's their life, their family's life, their kids' life. Guys would get promotions because their energy levels were better. When you have that, Giles, I don't think you struggle to know your worth. I still think you doubt it. Some days.
Yeah, I can relate to it. I think it's, I relate to it as frequencies. So your frequency low. If your frequency is lowered, like you're nervous about something, you're in a bad place. All you're saying is just remind yourself of what you're already capable of. It's not this kind of pretending you're up here and you're the man in the mist. You're not there yet, but you're saying, look, you're already here, but you've dropped down to here, and you're going, I'm not. I no longer feel capable. So it's just building loads of evidence, going, look, you've already done all of this.
Well,
in those key moments where you need to perform.
Yeah.
Especially when you're not feeling, you're naturally not going to feel on top of the world because you're like, shit, I better do well on this call kind of thing. Yeah.
Really good point. No one said that you would, could, or should feel good all the time doing it. So dismantle that belief system.
Yeah.
If you possess that, you can not like doing something, not feel good doing something, and do it anyway. I know for me, having trained for 20 plus years, I don't feel good going into every session or during every session, or even, do you know what? Let's just put it out there, after every session. It doesn't always feel amazing. I know the macro zoom out of that. So you can do it, you can not feel like doing it and do it anyway, for sure. And I think when you feel, like you said, like low frequency, not feeling good about it, the social proof can help. But what if you don't have the social proof? What if you've not built it yet?
Yeah.
That's the hardest part, is to get yourself out that there's no proof that I can do this yet.
Yeah,
You're usually in shape yourself.
Yeah.
That's where mastery of craft comes in, is like spending a huge amount of time mastering your craft. And side on what you said, because it's a personal passion of mine, is that frequency thing. Tony Robbins, one of the things that Unleash the Power Within, he was saying when you're in a low frequency state, we tend to be small. You know, you'd be on the sofa. I know I was, when I was suicidal, that was how I spent like a lot of my time. I think I was in the fetal position drinking a bottle of whiskey, but I was small and static.
Yeah.
And I always said the fastest way to change your emotional state is to change your physical one. So that's when I got really into running, like unhealthily into running, but healthily in the context that I'm still alive to tell the story. Balance, imbalance.
Yes.
So I think a lot of the time that's one of the things that I recommend to coaches is some movement and some reviewing of the proof. All of a sudden now you're, okay, I feel good, I've got some endorphins. Doesn't even have to be running, walking. Move. Reviewing your social proof and remind yourself who you are. Because for you, I'm sure there are days where imposter syndrome kicks in. Side note, they're thoughts, not syndrome. You're not being diagnosed with something.
Yeah.
It's a backpack of bricks you're carrying around where you put that label on it.
Yeah.
There are days when you're like, oh, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I'm rubbish at my job. But then if you look back at the success of PerformX,
Yeah.
all the lovely messages, all the lives that have been changed, all the industry benefits that have come from that, all the connections that have been made because it happens.
Yes. Yeah.
All of a sudden now, I think it's very hard to look at that and be like, I'm not good at my job. Well, maybe I'm okay. Even if the thought is just, maybe I'm okay at this.
Yeah.
Then we've got a positive frame of mind
To build from. Yeah.
We're right back to the first person you have to sell is yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
On your ability to do it and change people's lives. That's definitely been big for me. As having been through the gamut of mental health and business success and peaks and troughs, we're back to client and coach expectation of what it will be. They expect it will be easy. They expect it will be fun. They expect it will be to a degree linear. Much like a lot of fat loss clients, use a really basic example in the gym, expect it will just be lose weight and away we go. And then they gain a pound and they freak out and lose their mind. All I used to do with those clients, like, Giles, if we zoom out and look at your graph, see those last 3 spikes, what happened after? Oh, it went right back, really steeply down again. Yeah. So we have evidence that we're exactly where we need to be. Business can be a lot like that. And my opinion is that the expectations of coaches are massively misaligned. I've done a lot of hours to be sat in the room. I don't recommend it. Just the way I did it. I do recommend completely adjusting. Here's the cap out. I had a teacher at school, shout out to Mr. Pilgrim, no idea if he's still alive, doubt it. But he said, whenever you're pitching someone how long a task will take, double the amount and go up a unit. So if it's going to take you a day, tell them it'll take 2 weeks.
Right.
Because you're going to under-promise and over-deliver, even if it did take you a day.
Yeah.
With coaches, there's a big degree of that. If you think you're going to be making whatever number it is in your head next year, double it and go up a unit. That'll scare. Then we're right back to, okay, that's going to take 2 decades.
Right.
That's terrifying.
Yes.
One of the biggest mindset shifts for me as a coach was the moment realizing maybe this will take 5 years. It was quite freeing to think that, though. Where all the impatience that comes with running a business or building something. Okay, what if this was going to take 5 years? How would I play this game differently? Very differently. You're setting out for a marathon now, not a 100-meter sprint. As cliched as that might be, that is very true in the businesses that we have helped. Settling into that bigger picture identity shift, which isn't going to happen overnight.
And how much of the work you do in the OC would you say is sort of fixing mindset, so working on the self rather than the strategy? Because I know you're big into the strategy as well. There's a lot of strategic elements to it.
There is, and I think that's my bet. I went down a big, deep personal development hole in that dark phase of my life. And I'm so grateful I did. But then pulled back into strategy. Now we have absolute fucking legend in our business called Sean. And he is like one of the just best human beings I've ever met. And we don't like the term mindset because I think it's been dragged through the mud. I don't like the word set for starters. So we're going with mental flexibility because it's kind of the same thing, but now we've got the ability we've played around with a few terms. Thought fuckery for him, I think, a lot of the time. He teaches a lot of it. And this is a guy that has survived cancer multiple times.
Wow. Yeah.
Ages with you and I, has survived cancer multiple times. He can teach you a lot about the power of the mind. So he's been one of the, besides Chaz, I'd say one of the biggest additions to our business over the years in terms of like, I don't know if you've read the Founder and the Force Multiplier.
No.
Great book. Force Multiplier sat over there. Sean's another Force Multiplier. It's one of these guys that come in and put a rocket pack on the business. Eternally grateful for him. From my perspective, one of the most key tenets of mindset and coaches is thinking where they fall at in, again, shout out to our Lord and Savior, Alex Hormozy, whether they're active positive, passive positive, active, because a lot of people have a really fucked basal mindset coming in. Well, nothing else has ever worked for me, so this won't work for me either. It won't. Whether you think it will or it won't, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
The kind of, we'll not talk about all the levels, but where we kind of want to get to is at very least, it's worked for all these other people. There's enough case studies now that it should work for me if I do the same things be do have.
Yeah, right.
The absolute pinnacle is like your Elon Musks, your like just freaks of nature that are like, it's never, Roger Bannister, it's never been done before, but fuck it.
Yeah.
And I think I exist in a perpetual balance between the two of those now. I've been through the full gamut of like active, negative, where it's like, it won't work for me. Nothing ever works for me. Worked all the way up to that. The goal is to get coaches up to that piece. Complete transparency, that's a monumental task. Huge to move someone so profoundly. I don't need coaches to believe me. I don't need coaches to trust me. I just need them to try it. And that starts with clarity of vision. Which I think is one of the bigger problems we see is I don't really know what I want.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to make a 10 grand month. Why?
Yeah.
Where the hell did that? 10 grand months and 10,000 steps a day. Where did they come from? Who are responsible for these things? Like they do as much good as they do harm, but is that your goal or is that another platitude that you've been given and adopted as your own? So for sure, having clarity on where you're going and what you're building, the impact it can have. So here's the insight. One of the things we're very, very hot on is money goals are fine. And I'll be first to say that money will change your life. You know, people say money won't buy happiness. It won't, but it will remove a shitload of your stress.
Yeah.
Rather than money goals, or not rather than, in tandem with money goals, we like impact goals. So let's say you're a coach and you come to me and you want to make 50 grand more by Christmas. Okay, great. Nothing wrong with that. We work at the gap, maths the gap it's called. So it's like, where are you? Where do you want to be? What's your average selling price? How many clients you need per month divided by the number of months we've got, taking time off. Then we can see how many clients you need per week. We've got an acquisition target. Factor in churn and conversion. An impact goal is how many people will you get to where by when? And we're right back to Callum from Pro Coach. The guy takes people to the Olympia, which there's not another level. We've completed it at this point. He's playing through the game to collect all the coins now. If you have an impact goal of how many people defined by your target market people will I get to where defined by the actual outcome that the promise of your business, by when, make that public.
Right. Yep.
There's no cost for not doing it. There's no shame in not hitting the target. Guarantee you'll be further ahead than you would be without. One of the core tenets of the Optimised Coach is income follows impact, or revenue follows results. I don't think I will ever be convinced against that.
No,
I'm open to people trying.
Goes back to the mastery. Goes back to the mastering your trade. Yeah.
When you have an impact goal, how many coaches do you want to get to 10 grand by the end of the month, or the end of the year, or the end of the quarter? You've got a tangible metric that isn't money, but money will be derived from. And when we introduce that, all of a sudden there is now meaning to the project.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's purpose.
Yeah, I love that.
So now we're kind of at like a kind of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
I know you're into this stuff. You and I can like, have a big, deep and meaningful about it over dinner. There's now some sort of like purpose again, where the application of passion to the service of others rather than the service of your bank account. The other mindset shift is the psychology of money. It's fucked in the United Kingdom, certainly.
Yes.
Fucked. Like epidemic scale.
Yeah.
I don't know where it came from, because most of the guys that grew up with you and I, we grew up in the life will never be better as far as we peaked in the 90s, like peaked as a species.
As a species.
We did, bro. That was it. It'll never be that good ever again. It was so good. We just didn't know it. A lot of people carry a lot of money psychology shit around with them. And so I think that's very important. One of the big shifts that I have learned and tried to pass on is people feel weird about money because money feels very transactional. But what if money was just thank you notes? That changes the way I feel about it. I actually had a client this week say to me, he wanted to post a testimonial of the clip that we had from him. And they asked, we asked the biggest changes he'd made. Chaz filmed it. And he said, I don't want to share this on my page because it says, like I say, it's about making more money. So why would that be a problem? And I told him a story about when I was a personal trainer. I remember buying a Land Rover, which was on the vision board for a long time. And I remember buying it. And one of the best days of my life driving out the garage in that car. Like, cost me no end of money afterwards, but it was good at the time. And I pulled up to the gym and one of my clients said, do you think you should be driving that? It's interesting. I said, well, I think a lot of your clients will think that you're just spending their money on stuff like that. Why does he think that? And I challenged him and said, if I wanted a personal trainer, I'd want the guy that was clearly doing very well for himself. It doesn't mean he has to be flashy. I don't think I'm a particularly flashy person. Others may disagree. I don't think I am. It wasn't a ridiculously expensive car. It was just the car that I wanted.
Yeah.
But it was evidence of, like, it signaled that I wasn't in a clapped out piece of shit that I had before.
Yeah, right.
That money psychology thing really holds coaches back. The ability to understand money. So, have you read The Psychology of Money?
Yes, brilliant book. Yeah,
Morgan Housel, one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah, a Bible of money.
It's just so good. So we actually recommend that coaches, there's some kind of absolute must reads in the OC, and one of them is that. I think if you want to build a business, you have to make a better relationship with money. How to do that, I can't give you in a sentence. It's a big task.
It is, yeah.
But changing the relationship you have with it, and I think a lot of that comes from, my parents told me I shouldn't be a PT. Have this safe job. I got made redundant from twice in 10 years. Tell me more about the security of this job. Well, what about your pension? It's like, but what if I just made 50 million between now and the time I'm 40? They're like, what? I'm like, what if I did?
Yeah.
How are you going to do that? I don't fucking know. I didn't tell you I know how.
Yeah.
How isn't, like, it's another good phrase that I use with coaches is, how is none of your business? When coaches ask me, what am I going to do next? Like, tell them, how are you going to do that? I don't know, bro. How's none of my business? I know the first step. Or I'll have a good guess. Money psychology is a tricky one, bro.
It is.
You have to become a new person, right?
Yes. Yeah. Rewiring a lot of ingrained beliefs.
Client Andy, who's made more than he ever believed was possible, changed his whole life. He's like, what do I do now? The John Travolta Pulp Fiction gif. And he's like,
yeah, right.
It's like that. He doesn't know what to do with himself. So now we've really changed the focus to impact and wider life satisfaction. And I think once you get far enough up that tree, my opinion, with no shoot attached to it, is the philanthropic nature of what you can do with that, which Sarah and I do our best to do a great deal of. My opinion is, and the way we do it, again with no shoot, is we do it behind closed doors without any announcement. Because is it philanthropy if you're putting it on the internet? What was your actual intent? What are you signaling? So we do a bit of that in the background. What are you going to do with it otherwise? So money psychology is, I think, an endless game. Sure, Alex Hormozzi's having a tough time with his 200 million he made last week.
And that's a good pivot into, I guess, your focus on lead generation and wealth generation for clients. I think something we talked about offline was AI, and there's no doubt it is changing the game quite drastically in the fitness world.
Massively.
The fitness industry is always slower to catch up than some sectors, but I think we're already starting to see some quite big changes. But we talked about the negativity of it on content, and I completely agree. But yeah, let's dig into that and your views on organic content and AI.
Okay, where to start? Organic content, in my opinion, is where most coaches we almost use the should word. Optimally could start. Very careful with that word. We banned it in our house. We're not allowed to use it. Should. Someone else's standards applied to it. You've moralized your preference.
Right.
You got to be careful with that. Shout out to Sean for that sentence. So, organic content overpaid. Why? It's an apprenticeship. Unless you've done a marketing apprenticeship, you have no idea how to market. I certainly didn't. I don't think anyone's born with that. So you cut your teeth working at what works, and that is an ever-evolving thing. The algorithm changes. Why did it change, or what does that mean? Again, how's none of your business? Don't worry about why the algorithm's changed or what's happened. This is what we know. We don't need to understand it further. This is what's working. Once we've cracked what's working in terms of speaking to market pain points, being able to, if you try and speak to everyone, you speak to no one. So if we try and whisper just the right few words in the right ear, now we're speaking to a clear group of people. Once you find your foothold in content, now I'll be the first to say our engagement's pretty fucking shit in comparison to, like, if you look at following count versus engagement, it's not amazing. Not that worried about it. If you go straight to paid, the problem is for most people, they're paid ads just show shit content to more people.
Right. So
we don't want to put paid ad money into something until we've dialed it in. At that point, go mental, and as much as you possibly can. AI's fucked it in terms of it. AI has removed the personal element. It has removed the inability to tell stories. My dad sent me an article he wrote off the back of our most recent event. He's like, what do you think of this blog? And I said, it's good. Did you write it? He said, I did write it. I was like, these dashes tell me otherwise.
Rocket emoji.
Yeah. These dashes tell me otherwise. Oh, no, I did write it. I just put it in there to tart it up. It's my IP. I said, that's fine. He said, well, basically, it's my IP. I wrote it, but it tarred it up. And I said, well, why would you want to be tarred with the same brush as the people that are writing it? They're not writing it.
You've actually spent the time.
So let's get rid of them for starters. Yeah. Second of all, there's no personal anecdote in this. And the personal anecdote is the power stroke. Chaz and I spent lunch talking about, I said to him, give me something that happened today and we'll make it into an email for marketing. Because it can't have happened to anyone else. Statistically, it really hasn't happened to many other people. He said, I snoozed my alarm twice. It's cool, let's do it. And we got down to factoring in wiggle room and length of sessions and how we could market that to a PT market. AI can't do that, at least authentically. And this is why I think AI can be weaponized, and it can be weaponized good and bad. Weaponized badly, it's you being like, write me a post for this market, and it stinks and it's shite. It's AI slop, the pig feed of the content scope. The way we propose that coaches use it is for illumination or at least guidance, and then actually to simplify posts. Take what I've written and make this a much lower reading level. Make the sentences shorter and the words shorter. Now, this is why we built what's called the OC AI Lab, which has been secret, really. I think it's the first place I'm publicly talking about this, Chaz, other than, I don't think I've spoken about it anywhere. So we built a series of AI assistants that the coaches that came to Ibiza have beta access to. No one else does yet. And they've been testing them for us. And they're not trained to write posts. They're not trained to write anything. They're trained to help with my brain, help them do different tasks. So they're for different things.
With your brain, programmed to you.
Programmed with all it honestly took ages to get it all out. But once it's in, wild what you can do with it. And they're loving it. And we've got this whole website where they can log in and use our own, we built our own whole GPT thing that's in the back end of the website. So I think it can be used very well. What I see more often is it being used poorly and being used to churn out
crap.
Crap, mate. Crap. That isn't your belief. I wrote a book in 10 minutes. Do you want, do you believe anything that's in that book? There's no way you statistically do.
No.
We have to be very careful that we're not churning out slop.
Yeah.
Beige slop.
Yeah.
It doesn't connect with anyone. And to cap out, I think this. As AI has risen, as working from home has risen, as Zoom and all that has risen, people want human connection more than ever before.
Yes.
The content won't be in person, but it can replicate that in the connection and the personal stories and the things that happen in the pub and in the coffee shops and in the meeting rooms. And like we were here before, we got started, we were doing that. Sharing stories. The punchline is this: if you and I write the same posts, and it is statistically true, if both of us write it, they're identical. We haven't written something personal. We've written just like a science paper.
Yeah.
The story about you going for a marathon and me going for a marathon is going to be completely different. That is the thing that no one else can take from you ever.
Yeah, something a boss once told me in my earlier marketing career was, would this post make sense if our competitor posted it?
There you go.
And if it does, then
It's not yours.
It's not ours. Yeah.
Is this sofa blue? Yeah. Cool. Both of us can write that.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
Giles or Matt.
Yeah.
But once I got the sofa on, it was blue, but then the dog pissed on it and I had this thing. You know what I mean? Now it's a story.
Yeah.
And now that's the bit that people really want. Yeah. Like I see that across the industry massively. And the posts that are doing really well are the ones that are
real
stories.
Yeah, I think you've had some brilliant ones recently that
Thank you, mate.
I've sat and read through and thought, fucking hell, yeah. It's just so, it's open, but it's also ultra personal, isn't it? It's like no one else could write that post because it's your exact.
Yeah, no one else went back to their old gym. No one else,
Yeah, so exactly that sort of thing. Yeah.
That works incredibly well to do that. So I would encourage any coach to be doing that. And that's one thing that I think works well is those carousels.
And finding little stories that are very meaningful or have impacted a change. Even when you think of something, isn't it? Like just a nostalgic thought. It's like, well, recreate that thought like you did with your visit to your gym. It's like,
what happened today to you?
Yeah.
Tell that story. And it can be something as simple as you spilt your coffee this morning. How did you feel? What happened? If you're a mindset coach or there's a mindset element, what came up? Why did it come up? What did you do? Did you then get angrier? And that's when it happens to all of us. You get angry and then your belt hoop gets stuck on the fucking door handle and then you walk into something and then you're bashing around. You're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Someone told me a good thing, which is like, what would be your not pain struggles, but something like that. What were the moments that you overcame in life?
Sure.
Because a lot of people can't relate to a really good-looking, in-shape PT, and they're going, "Oh, this guy must be perfect." But if you're saying, "Look, I went from broke to whatever," these kind of stories, and they're going, "Shit, okay, so he's not flawless, and he's I can relate to that story as well, and this, and like it's those kind of, but repeating them multiple times.
But not always success stories. Like I took up running to run a marathon, I fucked it. And here's where it all went wrong, but here's what I'm going to do about it. Here's what I'm planning to do. Not even like a proven method. Here's what I'm going to do about it. Works very well.
One of your main focuses for your community is daily lead generation and weekly sales. Can you talk me through that?
I certainly can talk you through that. This is where I actually have numbers prepared for you. Chaz and I were chatting about this earlier on. So, story on this. Sharan, who is the investor in acquisition.com. Seen the new third party that's in acquisition.com? He was on a call. He was on once. He was teaching us something inside his business. Now, inside his business, they did lots of data analytics to find out how long does someone take to buy. And the people that will be on the list for years, and there'll be people that join today and buy. And like, well, what the fuck's going on? How do we engineer, back to that happening faster? And what they found was, to put a fine point on this, is like bingers or buyers is the strap line. If you land on a page, you've done this with abstract as shit stuff.
Yeah.
Salt, electrolytes. I found their marketing and I'm like, I am in for this. I don't know what these guys are doing. Now I've got it in the house. Do you know?
Yeah.
Right, you end up binging a bunch and you buy it. So bingers or buyers, what Sharan and his business found out is that 47 minutes of content was the magic number of minutes.
Okay.
For someone to have consumed off your content before they got to kind of if we call it boiling point,
right,
that they're ready to make a buying decision.
Okay.
Now, if we assume for coaches that there are 3 value reels, let's take reels, right? 3 value reels going out per week. That's a fucking optimistic industry standard. 3 of those, and let's say that they're a minute long, 3 minutes a week. Okay, well, that means the 47 is going to take us 15.6 weeks of them consuming absolutely everything you put out. Gets worse. If we assume that 20% of your followers see every piece of content you put out. So now we have to multiply that by 5 to kind of get to the magic 100, which still isn't true because it's not always going to work that way. That is 78 weeks. That is depressing. Yeah. More than a year.
More than a year to come
What
back.
the hell? So we're also generously assuming that they watch the whole thing. Because let's be honest, you start a reel and you're like, boring. And then you move to the next thing. So what we found is if we can get people to that magic number or thereabouts is a good threshold. The number doesn't matter. But what matters is the average watch time across the industry is like 5 seconds. So like, that's fucking horrific. Imagine what that maths looks like. I'm not smart enough to do that maths. So if we say that the goal is to get them to, let's just say 47 is the arbitrary figure, then we encourage coaches to build longer form assets that they can use. Doesn't mean you have to start a YouTube. Doesn't mean you have to start a Spotify. They are options. You can start a podcast, you can start a YouTube. That's a huge investment of time, effort, and energy and money. But you can still build these assets in closed doors and you can have them there. So if you come into touch with me and you're talking to me, speaking to you in DMs and you're consuming my content, it's going to take a long time. What if rather than trying to push you into a sales call, I'm like, Giles, based on what we spoke about, I've got this thing that I give to clients. It would really help you. And we can have a video version of it. We can rip the audio for listeners because here's a question. There's a podcast that's on YouTube and Spotify. What are you using? What's your preference? Are you going to listen or watch?
Personally, Spotify.
So I'm YouTube. There you go. Same content, different preference.
Yeah.
So we can have the video and the audio. Doesn't always have to be. It could be worksheets, can be interactive things, could be workouts. But if we can have these things rather than being like, hey, Giles, sounds like we can help. Here's the link to book a call. You're nowhere near ready to book a call. Now you've run off and spent your 47 minutes somewhere else and bought there.
Yeah.
Which is why when coaches see like the clowns around them making more money than them, someone arrived at 47 minutes faster.
Yeah.
You rushed to make the sale.
Yeah.
So rather than rushing to make the sale, can we send them a long form asset? Long form being, honestly, long form for a coach can be like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, the normal client probably watches or consumes on a lunch break or on the tube. They don't have an hour, nor do they want to watch an hour.
No.
So 10 minutes, send them the things, warm them up. How did you find that? Great. Like this might also help. And you can just keep sending them like these cherry picked assets that you can put them on landing pages or like behind an email grabber, or you can just put them in a fucking Google Drive and send them. It doesn't really matter. The goal is to get them to 47 minutes. So with content, that's the kind of daily, weekly machine that we're talking about. I genuinely believe that is the ticket to freedom. But the thing is, again, we're right back to it takes more reps than you're willing to accept. This is harder. You just want to push someone into a sale today. Oh, but so-and-so can teach me how to convert them. And they will leave very quickly. So for us, that's absolutely crucial, is getting people to a kind of metaphorical boiling point such that to join your thing seems like the most logical, safe next step. The punchline on this is you've given them all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. So let's see. If I give you all the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, what's the most important piece? What's your opinion on that? Of a jigsaw, what's the most important thing? The corners? Is it the edges? Like, I hate fucking jigsaws, by the way.
I don't know.
Picture on the front of the box, right?
Right.
How the fuck do you know what you're doing?
Right, yeah, got you.
You've given them all the jigsaw pieces, but they don't know what it should look like and how it all goes together.
Yeah, right.
Who does that?
You.
The coach.
Yeah.
Implementation, vision, direction, and strategy.
Yeah. So it's not being afraid to give away your value because you're not giving away
the best stuff.
Yeah.
Like the good.
Yeah.
Well, but why would I give away my best stuff? Because then I'll have nothing to sell. Well, what's the opposite? You're going to give away your worst. What will that be?
Yeah. True.
Well, if they're the binary options.
Yeah.
The best stuff is like, holy shit, what else has this guy got?
Yeah, true.
And what this guy has is the picture on the front of the box, which is the man in the mist that you can't really see.
Yeah, and you can do a DIY job and have a go yourself, but you're never going to get the same result as if you were. And
then if you're anything like me, you flip the table over and fuck the jigsaw all over the Go train.
Yeah.
So fuck jigsaws. in closing.
And then you touched on landing pages. You have a strong opinion on the importance of sales calls versus landing pages.
I don't like landing pages. I can keep this really short because it's easy. I don't like landing pages. I don't buy on landing pages. If I go to a landing page, I push Command and F and put a pound sign in, which will take me to where the price is, and I will skip to that, and I will now have the price. I now make a decision based on price, not value, and I have no ability to be objection handled, really. Oh, but there's a series of testimonials. Don't give a fuck about Stephen and Susan. I'm not Stephen and Susan. Now, they work very well. James Smith uses them with excellent effect. James Smith, how many followers he got? He's over 1 million, right? Over 1 million followers.
Yeah.
Well, supply and demand, bro. Like, he's not going to do sales calls. And it might work for him when he's like, it's fine. For me, sales essential skill for you to learn is not just selling. It's not selling, it's getting hired. And then it's, if I want to convince you that I don't want to go for steak, I want to go for something else, I'm going to sell you that idea.
Yeah.
So it's crucial. I think it's a vital skill. You're not just selling on sales calls. You're selling phases, workouts, commitment. All of it is sales. For me, when demand is low, for most coaches, you don't have more leads than you know what to do with. If the answer is no to that question, sales call. If you have the ability to supply those people with no demand and no curtailment on your supply, why are we sending them to a landing page? It's like you come into a shop and I run the shop and you're like, I'd like this bottle of Coke, please. I'm like, oh, bro, there's a vending machine at the front. Yeah, just want to buy the fucking Coke, bro. Like, it seems rude and impersonal. That's my belief. Not here to tell you there's a should. I believe it's the best way because I think it's an essential skill that you learn in life to have a good sales call that is a get hired call, not a sales call.
And what's your views on the cold DM?
Are they ever cold? I don't know. Yes, I suppose so. The reason people don't like cold DMs is because cold DMs are shit. Like, I don't like that. My inbox is fucking full of them. The analogy we always use is if I work in the gym and you walk in and I'm a personal trainer on the gym floor, I'm probably not going to say hello in the most weird way. I'm just going to be like, I'll do that weird thing. I don't know what that is, but we do nod. That. The nod. What is that? But that happens. And then the next time I might do a more aggressive nod, like, oh, hey, buddy. And then the next time it's like, I'm walking past you in the corridor, I'm like, what's happening, bro? And then maybe for time 4, I'm like, I'm really sorry. I've been rude. I'm Matt. You're like, I'm Giles. Nice to meet you. Great. Giles, listen, dude, I'm one of the PTs. If you ever need anything, I'm going to leave you alone. Just come shout anytime you like. Great. Then I see you training by yourself and I come up to you and I say, bro, you by yourself? Yeah. What are you training? Legs. Cool. Do you mind? Like, I've got legs. I'm going to train just now. I can train and give you some tips. Like, I don't want them for like, it's easier to train with someone. Yeah, sure, bro. That's how I made all my money in the gym. That isn't weird, I don't think. No. I don't think I've done anything cold and sleazy and weird. Those people were just like, naturally, he is the PT I will choose. Yeah. Because he has the highest authority in the gym. He's actually spoken to me for starters. Yeah. Welcoming people to your Instagram page is exactly the same. Starting communication with them and just maintaining communication with them without the intent to sell. If the intent is to, this sounds really cheesy, if the intent's to serve, you'll find selling a lot fucking easier. What's going on with you? Like, oh, I've been trying this, it's not working. Okay, cool. Like, what have you tried? Oh, why do you think it didn't work? How much did it work? How long have you been dealing with that for? Yeah. So we don't teach any cold DMs. They do outreach. There's warm outreach. Better yet, we want to, even if you start it, we want them to raise a hand. They come to you rather than you selling to them. Yeah, right. You can just be really easy stuff. It doesn't have to be fancy. Like one of mine that did really well last week was I put up a picture of my feet with just my socks on, and it looked like I was basically naked I was naked from the waist down. You just couldn't see the money shot. And the poll was: has anyone else noticed that you feel more naked wearing just socks than when you're fully naked?
Yeah, that's true.
Right, the number of replies is insane. Now I've got conversations, and they're not weird. I'm like, Giles, bro, another guy that gets it. You've had your willy looked at by old men in the changing room whilst you were trying to find your boxers in your socks. And they're like, yes, bro. And now we've connected over something, and it's softer, but it's not cold. Not like, hey, would you like to buy my new program? So-and-so said you'd be a good fit. Weird as fuck. No. But I will talk about feeling naked in my socks. Very disarming, very real, back to human connection. Cold DMs suck. Warm DMs do not. That's how I built my whole business. There was no ads.
And I think as a kind of final point, I think you've talked about communities come up as a thread throughout this conversation and something we both really believe in. And you've talked about coaches, and I guess especially online coaches, being starved of that connection. What stories have you got of the community within the OC?
The OC is a massive community, and I think when people answer these questions, they answer them with rose-tinted glasses and proclaim to have meant everything that happened. Right. Success stories in reverse, I don't think it's lying. I think it's titivating around the detail. Yeah. I didn't necessarily, I had the intent, but I don't think I meant it to the degree it's happened, just to be clear. Yeah, right. Yeah. They did it themselves. There aren't silos. There's the CrossFit guys, the mindset guys, the running guys, the bodybuilding guys, but they don't sit in those groups. It's the most fucking bizarre thing. And I don't want to take credit for it. The first example that comes to mind is we ran an event a month ago in Glasgow. We decided we'd open up 10 spaces for outside coaches to come in that are not members for the first time ever. Yeah. But we audited them. So you couldn't just come. It was free, but but you had to pass the test.
Yeah.
Had some guys come. One of them said in the room, how do I sign up? You don't right now, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm with my people, and this is the most important time to me. I will speak to you next week, but right now, we don't talk about this, if that's okay with you. He's like, cool. And I know, because he said it, that was a big driver in him actually now wanting to sign up more.
Yeah.
So he came in and he said, we do a sales call and then a kickoff call. And in the kickoff call, he said to me, dude, I need to be honest. I said, okay. I was a bit worried about that sentence. He said, at the event, I saw a lot of hugging, not high-fiving and handshaking. I was like, okay. Like, I'm a hugger. Like, you tried to give me a fucking dap when you came in. I'm like, nah, bro. Don't do that. Come here, you. He's like, I didn't get it.
I'll do the handshake into that.
The awkward thing where it's now we're like kind of just like pressed
That's
up
it.
against each other.
Yeah.
For sure. My mate has a really good reel on this, Dill. I'm going to send you it. You'll love it. Shout out to Dill for that one.
That turns into a grab.
But it's like now you're just kind of like got your hands pressed against each other's cocks as you're kind of like squashed up against. This is not awkward. We pretend we meant it and then don't talk.
That's the one.
So this guy, he said there's a lot of people hugging, and he said at the end of his kickoff call, I get it now. He's like, you have spent so much time digging into stuff that's seemingly irrelevant and like not just money. Why does that matter? What will it get you? What will your family? Why does that matter? What does this get you that doesn't get you? So you totally get it. And I think that's the best way I can give you what that looks like. The events it's a feeling, and the feelings are very hard to describe.
Yeah.
But on the boat in Ibiza, Sarah shared them to her story earlier on. I was thinking that, like jumping in the sea with a bunch of people that have become mates, from me too.
Yeah.
Swimming in the sea in Ibiza with a bunch of people just fucking buzzed to be a part of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better.
No.
And I think when you sit at your laptop all day, you don't have any of that.
Mm.
The postman's the person you chat to most in a day.
True.
The dog.
Yeah.
We've evolved to, you know this, we've evolved to do well in communities, tribes, pirate crews. And so those bonds I set the seeds for, but I didn't make them. I just I'm the facilitator. But honestly, mate, like of all the things that I'm proud of is like in the business is that. That's fucking cool feeling. To see people make friends and build relationships, and there's a bunch of them that share villas and stuff when we go away. It's the same group every time. They've got their wee names there for their villas. Fucking love that. The best. Best of the best.
And what do you think the importance of, I think something we like to look at with this is, especially I guess in the online world, but you have your head down a lot of the year, and you have a few days that you really look forward to, and we try and make PerformX some of those days. So you have 2 days that are unmissable in that calendar, as well as kind of the events that you guys will go to with you. Why do you think, from your experience with PerformX, why do you think it's unmissable for anyone that takes themselves seriously in the fitness industry?
In 2026?
Yeah. Or as a show?
Oh, because I'll be there.
Of course. Of course.
In a nutshell. I think it's absolutely crucial that people are in those rooms. PerformX is great. Like, it has my seal of approval. And as a coach and as a business owner, you get a lot of opportunities afforded to you along the way. Good opportunities aren't always your good opportunities. So I've been asked to be on stages and said no, because it doesn't feel like a brand pairing that I would like to put myself with. And I mean that in the best compliment I could ever pay you. It's like, yes, I would like to do that. And it's a great room. I know you take it seriously. I really trust your curation, personally. I think it's crucial that coaches get in that room and experience some stuff that they wouldn't otherwise experience, and go with we're right back to the start. So this has worked really well. The apprenticeship mindset.
Yes. Yeah.
Not that guy's teaching breath work and I already know breath work. Like, what the fuck can I learn here?
Yeah.
Or what's going on over there?
Yeah.
I absolutely love being in that room. I know for you it's the same thing. It's just very fulfilling to see an industry and other people trying to move the industry in the same direction, where it's like, can we all stop making reels about slagging each other off?
Yeah,
and
that's it.
Maybe start backing each other. And I genuinely feel the room is filled with, you've done well, mate.
It feels, a lot of people say that same thing, which is really nice, actually, that if you compare it to a trade show, classic trade show.
Don't name anyone here, bro.
I won't name anything, yeah, but even like internationally, right, they've got their strengths, but you see teams come from, say, a certain gym head office, but they'll stick together and they'll just walk around it and they'll do a lap and they're looking for kit. Whereas PerformX has this sort of bar feel to it, where you're like, there's no barriers to who I can speak to, and I want to go and speak to him, and you're chatting to a speaker, or you're chatting to someone that is really a direct competitor, or anything like that. But it's the barriers are down, and you're kind of just you're chatting and connecting and learning, and it's just got that real.
Yep.
Community is the word, but like everyone's on the same purpose of like how do we can better this industry kind of thing. So I think it's good to hear that.
Those connections are the ones that have served me, and they're ones that everyone's standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yes.
And sometimes those giants are just the guy next to you. They don't have to be the big dog. And I meet people every year that I have done, and maybe they've stood on mine. I don't know. I genuinely believe that is really important. I think it's becoming lost, which is why I think it's so important. Like crucially important to be in that room.
Yeah, it's way less. The amount of hours you spend around people is so much less than in our, apprenticeships type era. I always say it was the advice I gave on a recruitment podcast the other day, like a careers podcast, is like just try and get around your boss as much as you possibly can, even though working from home is really comfortable.
So you can do have.
Yeah. So you can just soak it up, osmosis.
What's he doing? Do those things.
And exactly. 100%. Yeah, exactly. Embodying it, because you're just, the lack of exposure to,
The only thing I would add to what you said there is that usually the other people that are your competitors. There aren't any. You are one of one.
Yeah.
As a coach, as a business owner, I don't think I have any competitors. There are people that do something similar to us, but no one is me. And like, it's not ego. It's just we're uniquely our own.
And your people, you attract your people. I hear that a lot from mentors, and it's you. Someone will resonate with you that doesn't resonate with someone else, and exactly that.
The pie's big enough for everyone to have a slice.
Yeah.
And as soon as you realize that, you're like, oh, we're not fighting over these clients. We can all have the right ones.
Yeah.
And then you can have an interconnected network of referrals that you can, buddy, my mate Giles is way better for this. Let me just put you his way.
Yeah.
That's why. That's why people should be in that room.
Yes. And final question for you. Is there anything you'd like to plug about the OC? Anything you'd like to, any final comments?
What a privilege.
How can people find out more? What can you,
You can find me at Matt_Optimize on Instagram, and you'll find all the links to our various channels there. The new courses on YouTube. We've got the school group that you can go and grab from the link. All the links are in my bio. So if you go to Matt_Optimize, it might be for you and it might not be for you, and that's absolutely fine. Come, if you like the cut of our jib, join the party. You're not going to be sold to. Fine, we'll leave it at that. And if you come and it's not for you, no hard feelings. Absolutely fine with me. I think most people are scared to follow mentors because it's like, how long is this going to take? Hey, Giles, how's business going? All right, here we go. I will message you and I will ask whether you're here for the content or whether you're here to grow the business. And if you're here for the content, fill your fucking boots, bro. Welcome in.
Nice, mate. Absolute pleasure.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.